This is... I've been thinking, I just want to talk. These videos don't reach a ton of people, but I can sort of see this acting as kind of like a time capsule for myself. This YouTube channel isn't really designed to get a ton of attention or gain traction or go viral. You can probably tell from the thumbnails I use, the way I talk, the way I edit, the lack of typical engagement tactics. I would take it in, like I would take it, I would accept it if these things did start garnering a good amount of views and I start making something out of this. There's always going to be a small desire for that sort of thing to happen, but I want to be able to maintain the authenticity, maintain my personality while on that sort of journey. I wouldn't want to change the way I act or the way I view content creation or the way I portray myself in order to, make it. I really don't need that. With that being said, I don't want to pigeonhole myself as just a guy who makes videos talking about a car. I have other ambitions. I have other things that I enjoy, other things that I love, and other things that I value. I also want to be able to do other things with this channel. I have previous YouTube accounts from when I was a kid where I would post videos and that sort of existed back then. But as of right now, while this channel is small, I would like to establish that this is more than a car YouTube channel. I don't know if I would necessarily love to be simply a car YouTube channel, because when it comes down to it, I really enjoy my car. I really enjoy doing stuff with my car, and I have other cars that I would like to own. I'm not a mastermind of car knowledge, and there's no real individual aspect of cars that makes me more fit to have a voice out there in the world. I think that my pursuit of cars is more on sort of just like a progress basis. I view cars as an amalgamation of all of my previous hobbies. When I was a kid, I was always into writing, painting, drawing, and then fashion became my thing. And then around 19 to 20 years old, fitness became my main thing. And then when I was 23, that's when I really started to pursue cars. I think that it's probably mostly because of the age I was when I started to get into it. The car thing became the hobby that stuck. A lot of things that I did throughout the years, like of me growing up and getting into my early 20s, were sort of just fleeting. They would come and go. They would be things that I would enjoy and I would consider pursuing more seriously, like cutting hair, sewing. I mean, I've always been sort of like intertwining like beat making into all my stuff. I still do that, like just casually, but it's never been something I've been super serious about. Just cars became a thing that I could apply all my focus on. I do believe it encapsulates all of my previous hobbies, and that may not make sense, but I'll try to explain it. The art, I believe that as far as understanding, there's artistry in building cars and making cars look a certain way. I'm sure a lot of people will know that. I've used it as my basis for being able to follow body lines, being able to see what fits, being able to see what works, being able to see what sort of things contrast, what sort of things accentuate, what sort of things contradict or will clash. I'm hopefully able to sort of identify those things, and I think that's because of my background in art. Writing, not so much. I would in the future be able to write like scripts, but that's besides the point. I'm waiting on a package and I'm trying to listen for the UPS truck while I make this. Because I need to sign for it and I really hope I don't miss it. When I got into fashion, similar thing but more physical. There was like a material foundation to what I was doing. Like obviously drawing is a physical medium. It was three-dimensional and I was able to use an artistic expression in body. I haven't really been, focusing too much on fashion lately, but I did take it very seriously. When I got into fitness, I took that very seriously, and that's sort of leading me into my next topic, which I'll get into in a second. The fitness, I think, was what made me really realize that discipline and determination was really all that mattered for basically anything, and wanting to reach goals and, you know, setting yourself up for success, hitting numbers, trying to get to a certain point where you are the best version of yourself and you're making, like, you're achieving things and really, like, getting there. Just trying. You know, that's it. And that has manifested itself in me doing whatever it takes to get my car to where I want it to be. Whether that's getting my hands dirty, whether that's working to achieve it. I just feel like me focusing on cars allowed me to use everything that I've learned in the past to take this seriously and do this correctly, in my opinion. It's not perfect because, like I said, I was 23 when I got into cars. I got serious about cars. I always had basic interest in cars, like I thought cars were cool, but I mean, before I bought my Civic Sport, which is the car that shockingly got me into cars as like an enthusiast, the car that I was looking at was a Subaru Crosstrek or a Toyota CHR. And I got the Civic Sport simply because of the silhouette. I thought it had a nice sort of just shape to it. It was only once a friend of mine came up to me and said, like, you could start modifying that and trying to have fun with it. He was not necessarily correct, because that was not a great car to modify, but Civics of old were great cars to modify, and Civic Type Rs, of course, are very fun to modify. Getting into that and, you know, watching YouTube, reading up on stuff, searching up, doing like research and all that stuff really got me into cars. And I was 23. I was very late to the game. I am not one of these people who for like 10 years has been in automotive YouTube or automotive spaces going to car meets. I was not that person. But it's always going to be a learning experience. That's for everybody. No matter how long you've been a part of this, you should view this as a learning experience forever. I enjoy it. This is my passion, a passion that I got into right before I sort of fully developed my prefrontal cortex, and I think this is where I belong. I am 26 now. I don't see this changing. I don't see myself ditching this hobby. There's a lot to love about it, there's a lot to hate about it, there's a lot of reasons to want to sort of remove yourself from the car scene, car community, but there are far more reasons to stick around and see it through. I don't see myself wanting to branch out anymore. I think I'm good. I think I've got what I want, and I think I'm doing my thing. I have this cool car. I have all the money that I've spent on it. And I have like this garage, and I have the work that I've done, and I've, you know, I love driving it. I enjoy talking about it. I like meeting people because of it, and I enjoy like taking my photos and just like looking at it and admiring it and thinking about all the work that's gone into it. But I have it, and I mean, just to be vulnerable and sort of get to the point of why I'm recording this right now, I'm lonely. I have this passion and don't really have many people. This wasn't meant to be like a call for help, being woe is me. I just wanted to get this video out as a way for me to look back on it. In the future, I want to be able to understand where my headspace right now. I'm not necessarily upset that I don't have anybody to share my passion with, because I do. I have my friends. I still have my few friends that I see regularly. I don't have a lot of the friends that I used to. And I don't go out a lot. I don't talk to many people on a day-to-day basis. And it's like the main thing that I think on is the fact that no one wished me a happy birthday last year. Not a single person. Once again, this isn't a video of me trying to garner sympathy, because I think I'm good. I'm happy doing what I'm doing, and I'm okay with loneliness. Like I've never really been a very present guy. I've never been like in the mix too much. I got an early start to the whole party life, having fun, doing crazy stuff. I got a very early start to that, and I was over it very early. Got into the fitness thing when I realized that I was sort of over all that. Like, I was over drinking. I was over being unhealthy and constantly distracting myself from the reality of My life is fine. It's so I can be alone and live with my like thoughts about everything, but I just don't know why I'm so okay with being on my own. Why I will push people away. I just don't know why I'm like that. I don't want to hurt anybody, but I feel like I have. I'm not upset about anybody like not saying happy birthday to me, because I'm not really the type of person to say happy birthday to somebody else unless I see them on their day in person. I more so feel that way because I feel like if I'm not present physically, that I will not cross anybody's mind. So why would I need to send that text? Because if I don't say anything at all, odds are I'm not crossing that person's mind. But nobody said anything on my birthday. And I'm not necessarily like sad about it. It had me thinking. And I just had to wonder like what I'm doing. You should keep in touch with your family, because you never know when you'll never be able to talk to them again. I think about it, but I just can't bring myself to do it, and I can't understand why. And I think that my passions are sometimes getting in the way of my relationships with people, because ever since I was a kid, it could be the smallest, minute little detail in someone else's life. If we were together and we were speculating on an idea for something fun, I was fully invested and I would lose sleep over it. It could be something so insignificant and I would just be fully indebted to an idea. And that's how I've been about things that I'm passionate about. I get obsessive and I don't sleep. I don't want to sleep. I don't want to wait. Whenever I want something, I get impatient and I'll do whatever I can to make it happen. Whether that's picking up a second job, done that before, working overnights, sometimes working 36 hours straight, not sleeping for 48. I think it's gotten worse because of the car thing, because I'm very obsessive. Will not stop until this car is like completed and has everything that I want done to it, and it's done right and perfectly. I want every detail to be perfect. You can't put a microscope on this car and find a blemish. Like, that's how I want it, and I want it fast. So I will work the 75 hours a week, 80, 100. I will do that, and I will enjoy it just because I know that there's a goal in my mind that I'm gunning towards. And because of that, I lost friends because I just didn't want to stop focusing on my goals, and I didn't want anything to get in the way of that. I would work a 19-hour shift, and I would know that I would have, like, I had a good friend who lived in the city, and he was moving to Colorado, and he was having a going away party, and I missed it. I just feel like I lost that friend. I didn't show up during one of the last opportunities I would get to see them in their home that they had in Chicago. And I felt bad, but I had my reasons, and I didn't explain it to them because it wouldn't make sense. It just wouldn't make sense to them, so I didn't bother. I'm not the type to explain too much. You hear it when I'm doing this. I ramble and I drone on, so I don't like to try to explain things too much because I will sort of get like this. I would say that like this is something that's going to change. I don't know if it's going to change. Maybe something will just like flip a switch inside my head. Something's got to change. Maybe I'll meet somebody. Who knows? Because I look back on the times that I had with my friends, and I enjoyed myself. I always did. But it's like every friend group, every romantic interest, I felt like I was growing out of. And that was from when I was in middle school to now. I would always just feel like I was not surpassing them, but just we were growing apart, and they didn't necessarily always agree, but I just didn't feel that same connection anymore. And I think back on a girl I met. I fell for her really quickly. I thought she was just beautiful when I met her, and I did anything that I could to get to talk to her. And she finally did. She finally talked to me. She had a boyfriend at the time, but she didn't really like him too much, and she left him for me. and I would do whatever I could to get to see her. I would do whatever I could to get out of work, to drive to the city, to get her from school. I would do anything in my power to spend time with her. We felt like we both fell in love. We both were really into each other, and she was obsessed with me. I was obsessed with her in the most healthy way I believe possible at the time. I would just take care of her. I would spend so much money on her. I would try to treat her right. I would try to do everything in my power to make her happy. Something somewhere just disappeared. It just dissolved before my eyes. I just lost feelings. And I think part of it was the obsession with just doing what I want to do, being on my own, working on my passion, and just sort of honing my craft. And I hurt her really bad. And I never wanted to. I can't remember if I ever formally apologized for any of it. But I just stopped spending time with her, and I stopped making time for her. I stopped